The trailer looks wonderful. I'm Amar from Amarazi. I have two questions. My first question is for Ritesh. Dabba Cartel represents a high-stakes storyline. So, what was your vision for this, and how do you collaborate with Netflix for the global audience? And my second question is for Shivani and Gaurav. Being people who were involved in the casting process, how easy or difficult was to get these people, which is one of a kind cast, like it's a gift. Thank you.
I can answer first. You want to answer first? Well, I mean, in terms of the cast, I mean, as Shabana said, she didn't really have a choice. She was already a part of the cast before the story was even developed. I knew that she was going to be Sheila. And then we took the story to her. I don't even think we narrated it to her. I think we just gave her a two-liner and she said yes. In terms of the other cast, again, it was such a huge team effort between Excel and Netflix to find this perfect blend of the cast that we have today. Anjali was a very last minute, but a very incredible addition to the team for sure. And she has fit the character of Shahida perfectly. But I have to say, I can't imagine these characters being played by anybody else. You know, it's one thing to kind of put them on paper, but to be able to bring them to life the way that this cast has, you can't unsee it now. This is what it is. So we're very happy.
Shall I make my confession?
Yes.
I have tried to remove two girls from this. One is Jyothika.
Oh my God.
She doesn't know this. But I said, nahi, Jyothika ko nahi, isko lo, usko lo, usko lo, usko lo. And it's really creditable to these guys who said, you can do what you want. We are not going to change her. And I really am grateful that you played it. Honestly and truly, it was my mistake. And it has robbed me of, it would have robbed me of the pleasure of working with you. Thank you very much. Second one, yahan hai nahi, bichari. Not you. It wasn't you.
हमें एक्चुअली आई कैन टेल यू कि हमने पहला नाम जब शबाना जी का लिखा था, मैंने शिवानी को कहा अब कोई एक्टर ना नहीं बोलेगा, एक बारी को हाँ बोल दे, कोई ना नहीं बोलेगा.
You'll have to repeat the question for Hitesh, he forgot.
उनको लगा रितेश का है तो उन्होंने सुना नहीं.
My first question was for Ritesh and Farhan. I was asking that it's a high-stakes storyline. So how do you what was the discussion point with Netflix for the global audience?
इस सवाल से एक ही चीज प्रूव हुई है कि हितेश के अलावा हम नहीं सुन रहे थे. हितेश was the only one listening. Sorry, your question was what was this?
How did you work with the Dabba Cartel represents a high-stakes storyline. What was your discussion with Netflix for it to resonate with the global audience?
Yeah, actually we've been in conversation even before Dabba Cartel of trying to find something that our creative sensibilities could align on. And we knew very, very clearly that there is a certain standard of script writing, of storytelling that Netflix wants to work with. And this is something that we took to them. The minute we had it, we knew that we should reach out to Monica and to her team and pitch them this idea. Because, I mean, apart from the fact, like everyone has spoken about, so I won't go back into it in terms of what the genre is and what it is. I think a huge part of it also, which was touched upon by many people on stage, was that it is such a female woman-centric show. And it has a very, very strong female voice. And we did think from our end that is something that Netflix would align on. And we reached out to them and we were, not surprised, I think is the right way to say it, that they were completely on board with wanting to do it.
Yeah, sorry, just to add to your question, which you were asking about for a global audience. I think जब जो भी कहानी आप सुनते हैं पहले बार, like when you hear it and you hear the story, I think the first thing is, do you connect with it? Is there some way of identifying with these characters and their life and their journey? तो अगर आप एक emotional connect बनाते हो उससे, you go out and tell that story, and if it connects to us here, I think in the country of its origin, it'll connect everywhere else. So I think that's the same thing which stands true with most stories. Like this will be some kind of an emotion. In this, like I said, these characters are so fascinating, and all of them have so many layers that at somewhere, you know, you see each one of them, and when you see आपने trailers ही देखा होगा, even that little bit of the skit which they put up before introducing each of these characters, I think it makes you identify with them, and that's what happened when we read it the first time.
I think it's also important to note that the world that these women come from, and I think this is a good question for Hitesh, for him to be able to direct these characters and understand this world. What was that like for you, Hitesh? I'll ask you since they're not doing it.
No, I think that was also my starting point for the show, that though the show is about crime and drama, none of these people were or are criminals. You know, they're normal characters who are dealing with their own challenges, everyday challenges in their life, and how they get entangled and how their characters go through a whirlwind ride. I think that honestly was my starting point, that okay, this is something unique, this is something that I don't remember seeing on screen. And then how these characters took, you know, a different shape and where they start and eventually, you know, the kind of choices they make. I think that is something that I was personally very excited about. And their relationships with each other. I think that... Why don't you talk about it?
Thank you.
Hi.
We have time for two last questions.